Okay, so the next founder on stage is Andrés Cester, CEO from Colvin. If you want to impress your boyfriend or girlfriend, husband or wife, what's better than sending flowers? What about if you want to make your house beautiful and with a pleasant sense? Flowers again. Colvin, born to revolutionize the way people and also businesses buy flowers with cheaper prices, higher quality and durability, and the superior customer service. They can achieve this by cutting all the unnecessary intermediaries from the supply chain and replacing them by technology. Andrés, welcome, and please go ahead with the pitch. You are muted.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, now we can hear you.
How are you doing? Let me share my screen so that I can show you the presentation.
Okay.
Okay.
We are seeing your screen right now.
Can you see it?
Yes.
Perfect. Well, first of all, many thanks to the e-Bynd team for having me. As Thomas said, I'm Andrés Cester, one of the founders of Colvin and the CEO. And I'd like to introduce you a little bit to what we do and to how the cut flower industry looks like. We started the company 3 years and a half ago. Myself and my co-founders didn't have too much experience in the cut flower sector, except for a small business that we were running while we were in college. But this is pretty much what we realized, what you have on screen when we started the project. Basically, what we realized is that the global flower market was huge and was rapidly digitalizing and being disrupted by technology. If we look at the numbers in 2020, so today the market is worth 100 billion worldwide, and it's growing up to 120. But the most interesting thing was that it was very rapidly digitalizing. So moving from a relatively low digital penetration of 7% into a 30% in a matter of 5 to 7 years. And this was very crazy to us. What we realized is that the industry was super big, but however, the way the industry operated hadn't changed in over 100 years, right? What happened was that the Dutch invented industrial cultivation of flowers 150 years ago. And basically, we realized that even though things had changed significantly since then, as of today, 65% of all global flowers continue to pass through the Netherlands independently of where they were cultivated, right? And here in the next slide, you have a very illustrative example on the right-hand side of the screen. This is a real case, right? So we realized that, for example, you had growers here in Spain that were transporting their flowers all the way to the auction in the Netherlands near Amsterdam, which is the largest commercial building in the world, where again 2/3 of all global flowers were traded, and then those same flowers were transported through exporters and through transportation companies back to wholesale companies that were sometimes a few kilometers away from the field. And what we realized again was that this was happening for 65% of all global flowers in a market that was worth 100 billion, growing to 120 and super rapidly digitalizing. The economical impact of this inefficiency was that prices increased by a factor of 6 times from the origin to the final client. All of this process could take up to 15 days in inefficient transportations. 30% of all the flowers that were cultivated were wasted, and growing a bunch of 25 roses polluted as much as a car driving for 600 kilometers. And when we started the project, the reason we thought it made sense for us to start Colvin and to try to change the industry is because we thought this would change in the next 5 to 10 years, mostly due to 3 key reasons. The first one was that globalization had pushed growers out of developed countries. And you see in the chart the percentage of flowers that are cultivated in the Netherlands from the 1970, where almost 100% of the flowers were cultivated in the Netherlands, down to less than 25% of all global flowers by 2025. So they had lost their cultivation monopoly. That was combined with the fact that global transportation had become cheap and available to almost all companies out there, and that technology was optimizing trade in the sense that the speed and the reliability of the transactions was much greater than 5 to 10 years ago, and the cost and the risks of such transactions had decreased very significantly. So this was our vision when we started the project. We were born to reimagine the global flower industry and try to fix these inefficiencies. The way we thought we could do it was by transforming this change that existed today into a platform where all relevant stakeholders could be directly connected, instead of having these nodes that we see here, which are intermediaries that generate all of the inefficiencies that I was explaining earlier. We believe that a network, a platform is possible, where again supply and demand are directly connected through technology. And we got inspired by other very successful companies that did similar, or that had similar approaches in different industries that had the same problem, such as the problem that publishers, hotels, or vendors out there had with intermediation between them and the end user, and that companies such as Google, Expedia, or Amazon solved very successfully. And this is the economical benefit of our solution. What we realized when we started the project was that if we managed to redistribute all the trap value that existed in the Netherlands, in this bunch of intermediaries that I was showing at the beginning, which concentrate 65% of all global flower trade, we could basically have growers make twice as much profit as they were doing before via direct sales, as you can see here in the left-hand side. Wholesalers and B2B flower buyers could make 2 times again more profit via direct procurement with growers. End users, both retailers and users, would benefit from lower prices and better quality. And ourselves, we could take eventually the space that the Dutch monopoly would eventually leave when they would be replaced by technology. And again, this is our vision. No? We think we can aggregate all the flower supply and demand data into a single source of truth and provide technology to match efficiently supply and demand, capturing this 120 billion opportunity out there that is now monopolized by the Netherlands. This is a slide that we like a lot, and I hope Jeff Bezos doesn't get mad at me for the quote, but we definitely believe that it's still day one for us. We've done quite a lot of things in the last 3 years, especially proven our B2C model, which was our go-to-market, and even more importantly, we've launched our B2B business, which should be the core and the piece that will be able to replace the role that the Netherlands has as of today. It's already launched and receiving very interesting initial traction. I put some indications on where we stand as of today. In the last 3 years, again, we started beginning of 2017. We've grown into a team of over 100 people operating now in 4 of the more relevant European markets, with a successful B2C brand that connects as I was explaining before, was our go-to-market, connecting growers at the beginning of the supply chain with end users who wanted to buy bouquets. This B2C brand allowed us to build our grower network, which expands across more than 10 countries around the world, with a cultivated surface of more than 100 hectares. Plus the 2 next points, which is the application for wholesalers and the wholesale retail marketplace, which is our B2B solution, has been launched. And all of these together, these 3, if you look at the metrics that we've achieved in the last 3 years, we've grown the company to up to 35 million in run rate sales as of today, in May 2020. The margins of the business are great as well. We manage a 75% gross margin for the B2C business. So we've managed to build not only a sizable business already, but also a one that we're truly convinced that can be profitable down the road. And we're preparing to go big somehow, right? We are finalizing our B2B technology, especially with the idea after 2021 to go big. Going big means we believe we can open more than 10 countries around Europe, which is our core region, expanding both our B2C solution and our new Netherlands or B2B solution. And with this, I arrived to the end of my presentation. I'd like to thank the e-Bynd team for the great journey so far, and many thanks to everyone who's attending for paying attention to the presentation. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Andrés. So a lot of questions for you. So the first one would be, do you believe your B2C sales model can sustain the expected growth of Colvin? And without the confinement, the demand will remain at the same level? The second question.
Can you repeat the second question, please, Thomas?
Without the confinement, will the demand remain at the same level?
Okay. Well, regarding the first question, we remain very optimistic on the B2C model, despite the fact that we're envisioning Colvin as a B2B company down the road. But we do believe that B2C can act as a source of cash and profitability down the road that can feed the rest of the business lines. So we've proven that the B2C that we can open markets and invest in brand building and customer experience to become leaders in the markets we open, that generates brand awareness and good customer experience that ultimately brings organic traffic, word of mouth, and repetition. And that once that happens, we can reduce the dependency on marketing and as a consequence, build a sustainable and a profitable business in terms of free cash flow. So B2C is very important for us, and which connects me to your second question. We don't know how the demand will perform post-confinement. We've seen a crazy demand spike these days. I don't think that will stay at those crazy levels. Having said that, I'm confident that the model will not be the B2C model will not be the same as it was before, mostly due to swamped competition. It's going to be very, very hard for offline flower shops to survive, or to most of them, unfortunately. Plus, we've seen that most of the customers who came to the platform these difficult days were new users, and also new users to the online world. So we are expecting that at least a big portion of this segment stays online and doesn't go back to the conventional channels. So we're confident about the post-COVID era on B2C as well.
Okay, great. We have a question from Holland. He's asking, looking at your growers network, are they exclusively from Spain or have you gone global? And if not, what makes your proposition unique for growers?
We've definitely gone global. Our grower network spans across 10 different countries in many different regions around the world. And that's what we pretend to do. Bringing in more growers allow us to build and to feed our B2B loop, which is more growers means more supply and lower prices, which brings in more demand from wholesalers. And after that, the value proposition for growers is better, so the loop spins. Plus, bringing in more growers doesn't only feed our B2B line, but also increases the value of our B2C division, since we have an improved user experience and diversity of growers that can also serve for B2C.
Okay, last question, Andrés. What size investment are you looking for and for what? And also, are you planning to go into brick and mortar?
I'll go to the second one first. did a brick and mortar experiment here in Barcelona from where we've learned a lot. Brick and mortar is a completely for me the most relevant learning is that brick and mortar is a different ballgame. It has nothing to do with B2C online, which means that it adds complexity. Having said that, we definitely believe that the brick and mortar line makes sense down the road. Now we've put it on hold due to the COVID circumstances, the project. But yes, I think it makes sense, both from a brand awareness perspective and from a user acquisition perspective. And regarding funding, we've raised more or less 12 million plus to date, which means that we're expecting that our next round to go big should be sizable. Things have changed quite a lot due to coronavirus and the funding ecosystem as well, which means that we might be delaying a little bit our bigger round, which will enable the big projects that we have in mind, but should be at least equal to the amount that we've raised today.
Andrés, I have just one final question in the positive side. So what's your current year-on-year growth, even during this COVID? Because I do believe it's impressive.
Well, at the beginning of the coronavirus, we moved into 5+ ranges of year-on-year growth. That later on moved to nearly 10 times year-on-year growth, and then it even reached in actually in all of the countries where we operate levels of 15 times year-on-year growth. Meaning that if we're selling 15 today, the same day last year we were selling 1 in certain days. But don't say it too much, Francisco, because you'll give ideas to too many people.
No, I won't. Because it's all a matter of the basis.
Yeah. Very proud to have you guys on board, and wanted to thank you again for all of your support. We couldn't have gotten here without you, for sure.
Thank you a lot, Andrés, for your kind words and for your time and the amazing presentation.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Have a good day.
You too.